Okay, on the last post linked in the description, I showed you the power of a continuous deployment with basically CI pipeline. But what is it good for? Now, here's a cool thing. First of all, I already took that URL and make it like this, serverless flows, much nicer URL. But what's really powerful about this, I already got a couple of mesh, here, ping, and what I already have is a FastAPI. What this means, it means that this is already a full-blown sort of web service REST API that's, well, it can become REST API, that basically I can now easily edit. And this is again an example of the full end-to-end flow that you want to do before you do anything. So before I add any feature, I actually now got a full-blown CI pipeline with an API that's easy to change. But let's see it in action, right? By the way, this version here is very important because you could see here 0.7, remember that. And finally, this is all open source. It's here. You can actually come in here and you can actually see that flow, which I talked about, which is basically this one, right? Which is fundamentally this flow where you're running the unit test, then the tags, then the PyPy, then publish to ECR, which is basically like the equivalent of the Docker Hub. And then from there, I create a Lambda function. And from there, I run the QA test on top of this. It takes about 4 minutes. So let's see this in action, right? Let's make a change. So my dev environment looks like this. You can see, it's all nice and going. So now here I got 3 types of tests here, right? I got unit test, QA, and integration. Unit tests are direct, integration are more interesting because they run directly to the Lambda function. And let me show you in action. So if I stop both of this, you'll see that my integration and my QA tests now fail, right? And the reason they fail is because there's no live servers running, right? So I'll show them in turns. So this one here is basically a Docker image, which is actually really cool because it's actually an equivalent of a Lambda function. So when I fire this up, I have the equivalent of a Lambda function. So I can actually make requests like this using Boto3, and I can even make requests like this, which you have to have this little trick here to simulate the Lambda function. But this literally is simulating the exact functionality of a Lambda function. So when I call it, I can now see my tests are now passing and the equivalent of my Lambda function is actually running here. So it's actually really cool. It's a really great way to debug stuff, right? And you can see here that these ones are now running over Boto3, right? So fundamentally is the equivalent of just invoking a Lambda function, right, directly here. So let's now make and then the second one here, if I start, what this actually do is now, the difference is the other one you have to invoke as a Lambda. Here I'm actually starting as a server, which basically means I can now invoke it directly, literally just like this. Just making a get request to the endpoint, and then you can call the ping, the docs, the OpenJSON, and the version, right? So can I run all this, which before were failing, then I'll pass, and they literally, you can see, they literally are hitting the live server. It's literally the same thing as going through here. So let's see this in action, right? Let's go into my handler. This is literally all it takes to create a Lambda function, right? You basically have this functionality here. While I'm here, let me just clean this up a little bit, right? And where you have an app, and I'll transform this into a class in a second, but this is like almost the cleanest MVP you can do, right? So the trick here is this part here. Mangan basically converts the FastAPI into something that the Lambda function can handle. So when you're calling a Lambda function, this is all you get, right? And now you can see that defines the root of the root of the thing. This is the route of the root. This is the route of ping, the route of version. So let's add a new one, right? So literally by just going like this, hello, right? And in this case, I do need to stop and start the server. There's a way to make this real dynamically, but I haven't added yet. And now just by doing this, actually I need to start this guy here, the QA server, because that's the one that simulates the thing. So so if I go here, I got my hello, and I start my server here. Now I should get, it helps that if I actually go to my local server here, which is on 88, I think. There you go, right? So now if I go docs, look, see, I got my hello method, right? Literally, how cool is that, right? And I can invoke it from here, right? And you got the hello world there, right? So, and now before we publish, we always have to write tests. So let's just add a quick test here via Boto3. So you can see all I'm doing here is basically invoking that. So I'm going to invoke the function here, right? And I confirm that I get hello world. So let's pass this. That test, it should pass. There you go. And let's also add a QA test, which basically should go like this. And what's interesting about this, if I run the QA test now against a live server, it's actually not going to work, right? The reason why, because that particular domain doesn't exist in a live server, right? Which is what you could see here. It doesn't exist in the live server, which is on serverless flow. So now we got this thing happening. It's all good. My tests are passing. Again, just confirming. Let's make sure all my tests are actually running. Cool. Ooh, what's going on here? Open. Oh yeah, because now there's a new endpoint. Okay, I'm just going to pause that guy for a little second. Yeah, the error is basically that you can see he actually picked up that there is a new endpoint called hello. There you go. Because I was actually testing against the whole thing. So for now, I'm just going to actually pause this test here. And it's important I fix it, or else it wouldn't pass on the live version. So I'm just going to skip this for now. And now all my tests are passed. There you go. Oh, cool. 15 tests passing. So now let's just commit this. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to my source. Here it is, right? And I'm on dev. Here are the changes I made. You can see, there is the live server. There's the 2 tests and the QA test that I've made, right? And basically, I'm going to commit this. So you just commit, added hello test method. This is basically what it's going to do. This is going, because on dev is going to trigger a minor release. We'll see in a second. I'm going to push this now. And fundamentally, what's going to happen is now if we go to our GitHub, which should be here, and you now should see, GitHub, you should now see a new action flying around. Here we go. Added hello test method, right? And this is basically going to go through the pipeline. So let me just pause the video for a second. I'll come back once it's fully completed. Okay, so my tests have run. And let's explain quickly what happened there. In that, just a simple one is actually really cool. I actually created the same Docker image on Docker Hub, first from the source, not from the actual PyPy. Then I executed it, and then I ran the exact same tests, only the integration and the unit tests against it, the QA go in the end. And then once they pass, I delete the Docker image, and then you go to the next step. The power of the next step, which is really, I can't recommend enough, is that I tag every single release, every single change I made. So it's super powerful. So I really understand and track record. And we'll see in a second the version, again, confirming the deployment has happened. So that's what's happening here. We tagged it. It's already tagged. In fact, if I come in here and do a fetch, we can already see that my dev version is already 7.1. There you go, right? Might as well merge it here, right? And then what we'll do is we publish to PyPy, right? And then once PyPy is basically there, that means that it's on. You can literally go to Python and you can just go, pip installed, and you can install this from there, right? Then I'm going to publish to ECR and Docker Hub. So what this actually means, again, you rebuild the Docker image. Now the Docker image is actually created from the PyPy release, which basically means exactly already a release. So it doesn't build from the source like the first Docker version. This Docker version actually is created from the pip installation, so either pip install or eventually it could be poetry. And then once I got the Docker image, kind of those are happening in parallel. It either goes to Docker Hub or and ECR. And the reason why it needs to go to ECR is because you cannot deploy from Docker Hub to Lambda function, right? Annoyingly. So you have to basically first bring to ECR in the same region, and then you bring in. Then I'm going to deploy Lambda function using the OS bot, AWS, super cool features. And once that is done, and we wait for it to run okay, then we're going to run our QA tests against that. So we're then going to confirm that everything is actually working fine. It's only when everything's working fine that the build actually passes, which is really cool. So let's wait for that. And here we are. In 40 minutes and 18 seconds, the whole thing has completed. My QA tests have done. So in a way, that already confirmed that that new function is already there. But we can check it. So if I now go into my production, serverless flows, actually my dev. So this is serverlessflows.dev.aws to Cyber Boardroom, because that's where I'm going to be deploying the features that I need. If I now refresh here, we're going to see our new function. There's our new function. And I can try it out. And if we execute it, you get to see there's the message, hello. And just to confirm the version, this is why the version is so powerful, because it's always a great way to confirm where we are. If I come here, I can see the deployment, it's 7.01. And this is the little things that make a massive difference. There's so many little curveballs that I got solved here that, almost like each one took me hours for each one to solve the little ones just to figure out the best way to do it. But in the end, it makes a massive difference because that eventually it compounds and it gives a really great solid development. So that means I can now focus on adding functionality to the methods without having to worry about my CI pipeline. And this is the point I want to make. I built all of this before I added one piece of real functionality to this. And that's what I think everybody should be doing in terms of development.